Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on back to another video. Today we're continuing the series of characters we need in Marvel Rivals, and today's list is going to be Spider-Man villains. This series has received so much love. Thank you guys for all the support. It truly means a lot. All the nice comments, all the likes, all the views. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep going with this series as long as you guys keep supporting it. So thank you guys so much. But let's get right into this. Spider-Man villains, right? Spider-Man has the best villains, so he deserves his own villains list of villains we need in Marvel Rivals. And of course, we gotta start with the boy, Dr. Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus. And personally, I would like to see him as a Vanguard, only because like he could have like a bigger stature. You know, he could be the arms could be lifting him up like here in this concept art. By the way, shout out to all these artists in these concept arts. They always cook, and this is amazing. Personally, like I think it will be really dope. I do have like what their abilities could be and their ults, and I'm gonna get into that. And then yeah, let's read it right now actually. So his primary fire, I got it all written down here. So his primary fire could be heavy, slow tentacle swings that hit in wide arcs, dealing moderate damage and physically stopping enemy movement for a split second. You know, his arms could just, you gotta get the arms in there. That's his own thing. So yeah, I don't think it should be like super quick, you know, because I do want him as a tank. So I think if it's just like slow but really strong, like tentacle swings, I think that could be dope. His first ability could be tentacles anchor into nearby terrain, creating a moving perimeter around Doc Ock. Enemies crossing the perimeter are grabbed and repositioned outward. So he'll be like a tricky little tank, like, because you know tanks want to defend the backline, right? This would be the perfect tank to, like, if someone tries to pass you, the tentacle grabs you as soon as you activate the ability and throws you back away. Maybe that could be busted, but I think that could be pretty sick. The second ability, Human Shield Protocol, grabs the nearest enemy and holds them in front of Doc Ock, redirecting incoming damage into the enemy until they break free. So basically using someone as a human shield, you know, literally grabbing an enemy, let's say like a cloak and daggers in front of you, and holding, and you're not taking damage. Obviously they can get heals, the teammate's not going to take damage, but until that person takes free, you're not taking damage unless they're behind you. You know what I mean? I think that could be cool. There's nothing like that in the game yet. I think that could be dope. And then his utility, tentacles independently intercept projectiles and abilities aimed at nearby allies, reducing damage without a traditional shield. So like any projectiles, like Luna Snow throwing ice, it'll just like deflect it. Like it has to be in his perimeter. Like he's not just going to deflect everything. So he's not just not going to take damage, but like things that are like near him trying to hit him in the back, it will deflect it. And then his ultimate, Doc Ock roots himself as all the tentacles extend massively, locking down a large zone. Enemies are periodically grabbed and displaced or slammed, while allies inside gain damage reduction from the tentacle network. So literally just like displacing everyone, you know, like the whole team wants to stay together. This is like throwing you over here, throws you over there. Like what I think he could be is, I have their identity, what they could be: area control, displacement protection without shields, just displacing everyone basically. I think that could be a very unique tank. I think it will be pretty strong. I would love to see Doc Ock in the game. Let me know what you guys think, but let's keep going. Next I got Carnage. Yes sir. I know we already got Venom, but Carnage is so different from Venom. Like in Venom's a tank. I would want Carnage as a DPS, just absolutely mauling people. Like I could almost see him like making him like a tank buster, like a Wolverine or an Iron Fist, where he just deletes tanks. Like make this guy attack super quick, give him like weapons, like look at this concept, give him something like this. Carnage could be sick. I would love Carnage, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. Here's the abilities I've written down for him. Mid-range slashing tendrils that apply a stacking bleed. Damage ramps the longer you stay on the same target. like I said, a tank buster, and he applies bleed. So after he hits you, you're already taking little ticks of damage. Your healers better be on you if you're being pushed by a Carnage. Like, they better be on one for real. And then Blood Sprint, Carnage liquefies into a red shriek, phasing through enemies and walls, applying bleed to anyone that he passes through. Literally, he like a bleed character could be really sick in this game. I don't think we have anything like that in this game yet. So for a first kind of bleed mechanic character, I think Carnage would be perfect actually. And then his second ability temporarily morphs his arms into random symbiote forms. He has axes, spheres, whips. Each hit changes the attack patterns unpredictably. So, Carnage is chaos. You can't really predict what he's gonna do, and the fact that his the weapons that he chooses is just random, and you're not sure what it's gonna be. And I'm pretty sure that the Marvel Rivals does can make him do different things. I think that'll just create really great fights, dynamics. You know what I mean? I think it could be really sick. And then his utility, killing or downing an enemy briefly increases speed, movement speed, and bleed duration. Pretty strong. And then his ultimate, Carnage detonates into spreading symbiote storm. Enemies hit become living bleed bombs, exploding and transferring bleed stacks to nearby enemies when damaged or eliminated. That's great. That's crazy. Bleed bombs. I would love to see Carnage in this game. His like playstyle is gonna be just snowballing chaos. If he gets rolling, the fight collapses. Literally, this guy. You talk about Scarlet Witch being pure chaos. This guy is 10x that. Literally, I mean, he is chaos, and he's gonna be causing chaos on the battlefield. This guy will be a menace as a DPS. I would love to see it, but let's keep going. Next, we got Sandman. Now, look, I love Sandman. One of the best Spider-Man villains, in my opinion. Especially in Spider-Man 3, he was like more of a misunderstood villain, but he had good writing. He had good intentions at heart, but he's still a bad guy. He's still a villain, especially in the comics. But I would love to see this guy as a tank. I mean, you could make him bulky with the sand. I think they could do a lot with it. Look at this concept art. This is awesome. And like the spike ball that he does, I think this is just a really dope character. You could do so much cool stuff with this. I got some abilities written down here that I think they could add. His primary fire could be slow, heavy sand fists that grow in size the longer Sandman stays in combat, increasing the reach and cleave. So the longer this dude's alive and hits a tank, he's gonna stay alive. His fists start growing more with sand, and gets longer reach. Like, kind of like, I want to say, like, there's not really anything like that. Maybe Mr. Fantastic, the more he does damage, then he gets into his puffed up state and he gets like pretty strong in that state, kind of like that, but as a tank. And we already know Mr. Fantastic is low-key a tank anyways. His first ability, shifting bolt. So this is more of a unique kind of like different forms of what he could do. So Sandman redistributes his mass, choosing one of the 3 forms on the fly. You got wide form, massive hitbox, reduced damage taken, harder to move. You got his compact form, smaller hitbox, faster movement, and then his fluid form, partial intangibility, damage reduction, but lower damage for himself. So depending like on the situation, maybe you need to hold it down, you'll go into his big form. Maybe you need to put the pressure, you'll go into a smaller form. And then maybe you guys are just taking too much damage, you go into the fluid form. I think that could be like really unique. Give him like kind of different forms. Like, you know how characters have different moves when you do a move. Like when magic goes through a portal, you could choose to put her demon, or you could choose to swing her sword. Something like that. I think that could be dope. I thought I would want to implement something like that. So I tried here with Sandman. And then his second ability could be quicksand. Creates a sinking sand zone that drags enemies towards the center and weakens their movement abilities. See, I debated because it is kind of busted. Like, I even hate it when Namor does his whale, and you can't use your movement abilities if you're in that vicinity, and you can't get out. You're just gonna get hit by the whale. This is kind of like that, but in an ability. Like, he literally, the sand is bringing you towards the center of the fight, and it weakens your movement abilities. That's kind of busted, but I think it'll be unique. And then his utility: when Sandman loses health, pieces of him break off and they remain on the ground. Standing near them rebuilds his armor over time. So, kind of like how Penny could throw stuff on the ground, but if the more Sandman gets hit, the sand will be on the ground. As long as he's standing kind of near the sand that was falling off, it could go back onto him and rebuild his armor. And then his ultimate: Sandman merges with the nearby sand and terrain, becoming a towering giant with extended reach, AoE attacks, and the ability to reshape on the battlefield by raising dunes and collapsing cover. So I thought for his ultimate, because there's not a lot of ultimates like the Hulk, like how he becomes just a massive, bigger version of himself. I think for Sandman, we need that massive version, like at the end of Spider-Man 3, when he becomes the giant freaking sand monster. That needs to be his ultimate. I mean, if I think of a Sandman ultimate, that's gotta be it. In my personal opinion, I think that would be dope, like a more cracked out version of the Hulk ultimate. Jeez, Hulk needs some buffs, by the way. But yeah, I think that's dope. Let's keep going. Next, I got Electro. Yes, sir. I love Electro, honestly. One of my favorite villains. I thought he was okay in TASM 2, but like Yellow Electro, this my boy. His powers are just dope. Electricity just dope. I would love to see like if they add like all the Sinister Six in Rivals eventually, if all 6 of them get a team up together. Like if they all, because you could have 6 people. I mean, you have 6 people on your team. Now imagine if the whole team is the Sinister Six and you get this crazy team up. I don't know what that team up could be, but it would have to be something crazy if all your teammates agree to be the Sinister Six. Like have 2 of the Sinister Six be tanks, 2 of them be DPS, and 2 of them be healers for like their perfect comp. I think that could be dope, a dope idea. I didn't think of what that could be. It's just a thought that went in my head. But let me know what you guys think that would be. I think it would have to be something super strong. If the whole team agrees to have the team up, I think it should be something strong. But let's read what I have for my boy Electro. And I actually want him as a DPS. I know here in the concept art it has him as a Vanguard. I could probably see that. I could even see him as a healer. But personally, I would want him as a DPS. I just see him electrifying everybody. But his primary fire could be rapid lightning shots that chain unpredictably between enemies and nearby metal surfaces. Shocking. Electricity. His first ability could be Electro overcharges himself, increasing fire rate and causing his shots to leave lingering electric nodes where they land. So literally just shooting out a bunch of electricity, and wherever it doesn't hit an enemy, it just leaves like a little electric static thing, and if someone goes on it, they get stunned and damaged a little bit. And then his second ability could be creates an electrical lattice between surfaces. Enemies crossing the grid take damage and briefly lose the ability energy. It's not a stun though. And then his utility: Electro gains movement speed and damage when near objectives, generators, or electrified terrain. Now I thought this could be unique because his whole thing is electricity, and most of it gives this character more of an incentive to be by the point, because a lot of DPS like to lead the point, and fair enough, that's their job. Like a Spider-Man, he should be in the back. This guy should be near the point, electrifying it, and it gives him damage, speed, kind of like power boost him, like the spider cart in that one map. It's electronic. I know not all of them are electronic, but in my head it makes sense. I think it would be unique to a character like this, making him better if he's by the point. It will especially be good in overtime games. And then his ultimate could be Electro shuts down the battlefield's power, plunging the area into darkness while he becomes a glowing lightning form. Enemies have reduced vision and HUD clarity as massive lightning strikes hit mark zones. Now, I don't think there's anything like this that like makes everyone's vision just gone. Like kind of no, because Daredevil can see actually better, but kind of like dark. I want to say like kind of like inks your screen from Mario Kart, but like just darkens it, and then all you see is Electro just zipping around, throwing lightning strikes. I think that could be dope. Maybe it doesn't affect your teammates, but only the enemy team. I think that could be like a good like team wipe all, almost like a Scarlet. And he will play like area chaos plus map awareness, not just point and click damage. Like a Phoenix, just like throwing it back like a Hela, you know? But let's keep going. Next, I have the Lizard. Now, wow. Look at this concept art. Whoever made this, cooked. Wow. And I know it says here they want him as a Vanguard. I would want him as a healer. You could even make this weapon he has shoot healing shots. But wow, this is amazing, and I put it in the thumbnail for a reason. Yeah, they cooked on this. Like, this looks like it's already in Rivals. Like, wow. But here's another one. Like, without the gun, maybe they will do him more of a brawly style. But for me, I got him fires Biospherum globals that heal allies on hit and leave a short regen effect. Because again, I want him as a healer. Now, if they want to go with this one, maybe he spits it out. I love the gun idea, because Kurt Connors, the Lizard, is a scientist. I could see him doing something with like scientific weapons. I think that would be unique. I mean, there's nothing like that in other games that portray the Lizard. He's more just a lizard. Like in Spider-Man 2, he's just a big giant lizard. I think they could still make him smart as the lizard form, but obviously still in his lizard form. I think they could do something like that. And then his ability could be Lizard sheds damaged skin, releasing and healing a healing pulse around him and dropping regen patches allies can stand in. And then his second ability could be Tongue Pull that drags an ally to safety or pulls an enemy closer, granting the ally a burst of heal if used defensively. And then his utility could be healing an ally grants them temporary resistance to the last damage type they took. And then his ultimate could be allies in a large area rapidly regenerate health, gain increased movement speed, and receive enhanced self-healing, while Lizard briefly grows larger and more durable as he maintains the effect. So, kind of like a Gambit ult, and we know how busted that Gambit ult is right now. But makes the Lizard like a big ass lizard. You know what I mean? And then basically he'll be a brutal survivor, not holy light, just biology refusing to let you die. Like he could be like a Gambit, like DPS healer, like especially with this. Wow, this is amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you guys want him as a Vanguard. I want him as a healer because I could see him doing something with science, healing people. And I think we need some Spidey villains as healers too. But let me know what you guys think. Let's keep moving. Next, I got Kraven the Hunter. Man, I love Kraven. Kraven's I want to say more of a low-key Spidey villain. I know he's part of the Sinister Six as well in a lot of media, but I don't feel like he gets enough love. And I know in Spider-Man 2, he did get a lot of love, like the Spider-Man 2 PS5 game. But I would love to see him in Rivals as well. I think he could be a very unique character with like animalistic moves. I could see him as a tank personally, but I could also see him as a DPS. Here I got his primary fire could be precise thrown spear that deals bonus damage to isolated targets. And then his ability could be tags an enemy, revealing their position and increasing Kraven's damage only on that target. So basically, like, you know when Spider-Man puts a tracer on someone, basically Kraven does the same thing, but a predator mark, and when he activates this ability, he only targets you, like when he pushes the ability. His second ability could be places hunting traps that root and weakens the first enemy to step on it, rewarding map control. Now, when I thought about it, I was like, bro, we don't really have any characters that are like trap characters. Besides, you could say Penny Parker, that puts the big, I hate the big freaking spider web with all the mines. I hate that. But I know I saying I hate that, but I think Kraven's could be a lot more cooler because you could set up these traps in a place that people go and they might not suspect a trap to be there, and when they walk on it they get trapped and take damage, and then you could pick off a kill there. That's different from taking over the entire point with your mines and you can't even walk on there. This is more of a sneaky way, and I would like that better, honestly. And then his utility could be Kraven gains movement speed and reload speed and damage when chasing a marked or low health enemy. You know, kind of like a predator in the wild chasing a weakened deer. He gets more adrenaline. That's Kraven's whole thing. And then his ultimate could be Kraven declares a hunt on the strongest enemy hero. Both are revealed only to each other. Kraven gains massive buffs against them, and defeating the target grants the whole team a damage boost. Now, this sets up kind of like a 1v1 situation, probably between the highest health character on their team, and if he actually ends up killing the character, the whole team gets like a damage boost. There's nothing like that in the game. I think that would be really sick. His playstyle will be 1v1 dominance, mind games, and ego checks, basically. Bro could say Kraven diff in the chat all day. I think it'll be dope. Let me know what you guys think. Let's keep going. Next, I got Mysterio. Of course, we gotta have Mysterio, one of my personal favorite Spidey villains. This concept art is amazing. Wow. This looks like it also needs to be in the game already. Jeez. What? Shout out to these artists, man. I think this one, shout out to Enzo. Great work. This is amazing. There's this one as well. This one looks good. I like it. But I would want Mysterio as a healer personally. I know here it says duelist. I would want him as a healer. I think it could work more similar to like a Loki. You don't know where he really is. You can keep healing your allies. Primary fire fires illusionary orbs that heal allies and briefly create fake after images of them, confusing the enemy targeting. So kind of different than a Loki, because Loki can create more of himself. I think Mysterio should be able to create illusions of your allies. Like if you're healing an Iron Fist, you can make 2 more Iron Fists and they don't know which one to attack. Obviously the other 2 Iron Fists won't be attacking, but if you're trying to keep a heal on someone and you want to throw them off for a quick second, I think that could be dope. Projects an illusionary dome that heals allies inside, but appears larger and more threatening to enemies than it actually is. And then the second ability creates multiple illusion clones of nearby allies. Okay, like I was saying, only real ally will receive the healing, but enemies can't tell which is which. Like I said, like he creates 2 more Iron Fists, but you're only healing the real Iron Fist, but they don't know which Iron Fist it is. I think that could be really cool, different from a Loki. And then his utilities can be enemies damage near Mysterio briefly see fake damage numbers and hit markers, masking who's actually being healed. That's unique. Like, you know, the health bars are always shown in Marvel Rivals, so if Mysterio can kind of do mind games with that, maybe this is too broken, but kind of do mind games where it's like, oh, this guy's almost 1 HP, and then they go rush, and then when they actually hit him, he's 100 HP, and you get cooked, and you're like, what the hell? Maybe that's too busted. I think it could be cool. I'm just coming up with these. Let me know if you guys think that's too busted. But his ultimate can be the battlefield fills with massive illusions. Allies rapidly regenerate health and gain damage resistance, while enemies experience distorted vision, delayed audio cues, and fake enemy indicators. So if I pop my ult and someone else pops their ult, like I'm trying to give an example, like I pop my ult, it's giving healing to everyone, but it's distorting the opponent's screen. And let's say a Scarlet also pops her ult at the same time, but they don't hear the cue yet. they'll hit the Q like 3 more seconds because they're discombobulated, and then boom, the whole team gets wiped. That would be crazy like combo, honestly. And that's like Mysterio's whole thing. He's throwing you off. You don't know what's coming next. Maybe this character would be too busted, at least the way I'm making him, but I think it could be really cool. This design is sick. This screams just coolness and mysteriousness, right? But let's keep going. Next, I got Mr. Negative. Kind of a more underrated pick. He's more known from the Spider-Man game. We could use more unique Spidey villains. Like, his rogue gallery is huge. Like, why just pick the most popular ones? I think we need to dig a little deeper. Mr. Negative is a really dope villain. Basically, what he did is he's just like, what is his powers? It's like straight like negative energy. That's why he has like the negative colors. He's just a really dope villain in my opinion, and fighting him in Spider-Man PS4 was a really cool boss fight. I think they could do a lot with this character, so this is what I have for him. His primary fire, negative surge, fires corrupted energy bolts that invert enemy effects. Buffs become debuffs, and shields decay faster. So kind of like a counter pick to Strange, honestly. And then his first ability could be marks an enemy. Any healing they receive instead damages them for a short duration. Short duration. Like I said, Mr. Negative, he makes everything the opposite, right? If you hit someone with this and they're getting healed, now they're taking damage. You know, there could be a good indicator where if they get hit with this, they turn black and white. Like if I hit a Thor with this, now it's a black and white Thor. And the healer knows to not heal them yet until the effect goes away. Maybe the effect only lasts 3 to 4 seconds. Maybe that's too long. 2 to 3. Alright, his second ability could be sends a wave of negative energy that passes through allies, buffing their damage, and explodes on enemies. Right? That could be cool. And then his utility could be defeating an enemy drops negative essence that Mr. Negative can absorb to increase damage and ability potency. And then his ultimate can be Mr. Negative floods a large area with negative energy, flipping team states. Allies gain life steal and damage boost, while enemies suffer reverse controls, weaken abilities, and amplified damage taken. This guy could be dope. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, I want him as a DPS, so his playstyle would be corruption, inversion, punishment, not just damage, but turning the fight upside down. I think it could be cool. Basically like an opposite day character. Pretty unique. I would love to see Mr. Negative in this game. Let's keep going. Next, I got Scorpion, and honestly, I could see them adding Scorpion because the new Spider-Man movie coming out, one of the main villains is going to be Scorpion, so we could possibly see this character actually. But personally, I would want to see him as a tank. I think he could use his massive tail to deflect projectiles and shield his allies. But here's what I have written down. His primary fire, Neuro Stinger strikes, heavy claw swings that apply stacking toxin, reducing enemy damage output instead of raw DPS. So like I said, kind of like neutralizing the DPS. He'll be a tank to protect the healers for sure. He'll be like kind of back there with the healers. I know you want your takes in the front line, but he will be like more of a protector for them, in my opinion. And then his first ability could be hardens his exoskeleton with venom, converting incoming damage into poison clouds around him. You gotta do something with the poison, because that's kind of his whole thing. He poisons you. He shows you things that are really not there. Poison clouds, since he's a tank, it could be around him, defending his teammates as well. And then his second ability could be Scorpion tunnels underground, emerging to knock back enemies upward and reposition to the front line. Like I said, he'll be like more in the back, so if he needs to go to the front, he will just dig under the ground and then come up and reposition into the front line. I think that'll be dope, and obviously he'll do damage when he comes up. And then his utility could be standing in the poison. His or enemies grants healing and increased armor. So the poison would hurt the enemies, but for his allies it would heal them. So kind of like a support tank hybrid. I don't think we have something like that yet, especially as the tank role. Like, I guess Captain America, his ult heals people, but come on, that's just his ult. Like, just like a little ability that heals your heals your allies could be dope. And then his ultimate could be Scorpion claims a large area, flooding it with corrosive toxins that weaken enemies over time, while massively boosting his durability and presence inside the zone. So, weakening the enemies and then making him stronger. His tank identity could be just control and survivability, basically. Let's keep going. Last but not least, I got Prowler. Now I know you're saying he's more of a Miles Morales villain. We're not getting Miles Morales in this game. If anything, we're getting a skin for Spider-Man that is Miles Morales. Maybe they could change the voice lines, especially when this guy comes out. I could definitely see them doing that, like a Miles Morales skin variant for Spider-Man, because they're not gonna add Miles Morales when we already have Spider-Man in this game. And now I know Miles Morales can go invisible and he has the electric powers as well. I just don't think that's different enough of a play style for them to add a whole new character like Miles Morales. Like, he's still Spider-Man. Like, what is he? Spider-Man with the ability to go invisible? Like, we got Invisible Woman for that. Like, I see Miles Morales being a skin. They could even change the voice lines like they just did with the Lady Loki. Lady Loki has all new lines recorded, but I could definitely see them adding Prowler. And Prowler, really dope. Them. Look at this concept art. Wow. This is amazing. This is great. This is great work. This is peak. Here's another one, more smaller. But for his abilities I've written down here is his primary fire could be short energy slashes that deal bonus damage when attacking from above or behind. So I would also want him as a DPS, because I feel like he's more of like, I feel like he'd be more like a dive, kind of like a BP, kind of similar playstyle to that. His first ability could be briefly cloaks and launches into chosen direction. Next attack deals amplified damage and reveals the target. Because you know he's gonna be using his gadgets. It's kind of Prowler's whole thing. He's got gadgets. He's quick. He's got like little mines and stuff he could do with that. Like his second ability right here deploys wrist mounted sound traps that detonate when enemies move or use abilities nearby, disrupting their momentum. Like I said, he's got like he's like a tricky, almost like kind of like my Kraven idea with the traps, but more like gadgety. And then his utility could be gains increased jump height, wall cling time, and damage while attacking from elevated positions. I think he'll kind of play like a Moon Knight, like, because you know Moon Knight likes to be on the roof and throwing the unks down and doing that. This guy could be wall climbing, throwing his mines down, his little gadgets and stuff. I could see him doing something like that. It could be pretty unique. And then his ultimate could be Prowler fully cloaks marking enemies below him. He can chain lethal dive attacks between marked targets before repairing into a shockwave. That could be dope, honestly. Just like, kind of just like hunting people down, basically. Just like, he's got like a mark for someone and he's gonna go after that. Instead of like a Moon Knight with the unk, like he's just gonna hunt a person down. He's definitely gonna be a dive, like a BP for sure. And then he's just a vertical assassin, controls rooftops, punishes bad positioning, and owns city maps. That New York City map, this guy's gonna be dope bound. But I have a couple honorable mentions. Green Goblin. Now I know you guys are thinking, whoa, why isn't Green Goblin here? I had him in my 2026 prediction list already, so I didn't want to include him on here because I already talked about him over there. But of course, I would want Green Goblin. Personally, my favorite Spidey villain. Vulture. Again, maybe it'll be too similar to like an Angela, but I think Vulture could be cool. Kingpin. I think they could probably add Kingpin because he's also a Daredevil villain, and we have Spidey and Daredevil now, so I could definitely see that in Kingpin. And then Black Cat. Black Cat could be cool with the whip, probably like pretty agile, maybe a strategist. But that's my list for today. Those are 10 Spider-Man villains I would want for Marvel Rivals. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support that this series has been getting. Let me know what list you guys want me to make next. Maybe an Avengers list, maybe just a pure villains list, non-Spider-Man. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Peace.